Happy Mondays. Welcome back to another reaction videos. And today we are going to be talking about a 14-year-old Tyrese that fell off an amusement park ride. And we're going to be touching different type of topics. We're going to be showing different videos, and we're going to be showing you a little clip of the news and what happened to this young man. This video is very, very strong, so if you have a young one, I am going to be putting on a warning sign. Let's do it.
And we asked two ride safety experts to take a look at this image. It shows the position of Tyrese Sampson's harness moments before the ride got started. Here's a side profile view of Tyrese Sampson in his seat on free fall. The 14-year-old kicking his legs as he waits to be lifted more than 400 feet in the air and then dropped. The only thing keeping him in his seat is that harness.
I see a patron in an amusement ride, and that over-the-shoulder restraint system is not properly affixed.
Experts say Sampson's harness may have been locked, but it was not pulled down far enough, leaving a gap. You can see the difference in how his fit compared to other riders in the video.
It should have been a closed circuit, if you will, so where it came all the way down over the shoulders, containing the person and or resting in their lap. And
I'm going to put it really early because I do have my opinion about this. This news came out a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. It came out a week ago, a week and a half ago on a Thursday. And as soon as it came out, it broke my heart, you guys. And I'm pretty sure that it broke a lot of hearts out there. Especially mothers that have kids, know that they go to these amusement parks. They go with their friends. They go in like school trips. And you never know. Things like that could happen. That's why, call me boring, but I don't get it any rides. I had an experience going on a ride, and I'm, almost falling. And it was one of the rides from Coney Island. A lot of bad things happen in Coney Island, if you guys don't remember. And, growing up, I'm always hearing these horror stories and crazy things that happen in these rides, that could happen in these rides. So I don't take my life for granted, guys. I really don't. And I feel like this young man's life could have been prevented. I think that, the guys that were supposed to, check, they didn't really do a good job checking. Because as you can see, his seatbelt was all the way up here and everybody else was leveled. And they didn't even check his weight. As what I've known, I think the parents were saying that he got denied from like 2 or 3 roller coasters. He got denied getting on these rides because of his weight. So I don't understand why they didn't take precautions when it came down to this ride. It's just a waste of life.
the seat pan.
In this video, inspectors taking a close look at Sampson's seat and the position of the harness. According to the operation manual, the weight limit for the ride is 287 pounds. Sampson weighed 340 pounds, so he was 53 pounds over the weight limit. The state's accident report says free fall was coming down the tower. When the magnets engaged, the patron came out of the seat, harness still in a down and locked position when the ride stopped.
That created enough G-force to throw him out of the ride because it came down and stopped abruptly.
So did any of the warning lights go off? Employees could be heard discussing that seconds after the tragedy.
No.
So you shouldn't be able to press that button to make the ride go if any of these devices were not properly secured.
Well, some state lawmakers say this tragedy may spark changes for the amusement ride industry. More from them at 10:30.
I mean, I think that those rides should have double safety. It saddens me that, he went over there to a trip and he didn't even go with his parents. He went with a friend. And it's so nerve-wracking that he went with a friend. And as he was getting on that ride, guys, he really, really didn't feel safe. He was up there telling his friend that he didn't think he was going to make it. And if anything happened to him, for him to tell his mom, his dad, that he loves him. And I think that's a real sad tragedy. So prayers go out to the family. That's really, 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 really sad. I just think that if you're not safe and if you feel like you're second guessing yourself, really don't. I think if a ride goes that high or if it goes backwards, I think it should have like multiple safety just in case if that one safety doesn't work. And with all that safety, you still don't know what can happen. And I'm going to be showing you the most disturbing ride fails. So here goes my next one. And everybody have gotten on those before. I have on that ride. And look, kids flying out. Oh my God, imagine one of your kids in that ride. It could have been your kids, it could have been your grandkids, it could have been you. Oh my God, look, he's hurt. Wow. Oh no. That's scary. This video is super crazy. And I'm pretty sure that somebody that you know, or even you, got on this ride.
She fell into the arms of an angel.
I yelled up to her, "Let go, I promise I'll catch you."
Matthew Howard is the brave dad who caught the 14-year-old girl.
Her neck is stuck.
You've probably seen the harrowing video. She's dangling off the sky ride at Six Flags near Lake George in upstate New York. She was hanging by her neck.
Like a teenage
her
girl.
terrified little brother sitting there helpless, screaming for help.
Sorry. I'm glad my daughter was with me.
I would have been
I'm glad this
traumatized,
young was
too.
there trying to help.
Matthew and his daughter Leanne stood right under the girl as she hung on for dear life. Lauren Lent recorded the heart-stopping drama on his cell phone.
The brother was screaming, what really got me is that I can't pull her back up. She can't breathe. She's choking. Her head's stuck. Her neck's stuck.
We found this video of the same ride on YouTube.
We are flying high.
As you can see, it's not a death-defying thrill ride at all, more like a slow sightseeing cruise over the park. The last place you'd expect to see a terrifying scene like this.
Hey, how we doing? Hey!
Each chair has a safety bar. Somehow the teen slipped under the bar and was left hanging by her neck. Below is a 25-foot drop.
Everybody looks like ants from up here. They'll catch you, honey.
The girl just couldn't hold on.
I'm just wondering
but
how she got in that
Howard
position in the
was
first
ready.
place.
When she released, I just braced my body and poof, there she goes.
When she came flying down from about the middle of her back down, landed right here on my father's chest, which knocked them both down. And when I realized what was going on, I put my hands out to catch her neck and her upper back.
Wow.
Both Matthew and the girl were knocked out cold, but only for a moment. They were both taken to a local hospital. Inside Edition producer Alicia Powers took a ride on a sky ride at another Six Flags park in New Jersey. This one has a different design with a gondola-style cabin that is
I've
much
been on
more
that one
difficult to
before.
fall out of.
Yeah.
Nobody is falling through these bars. However, it is very scary and we are very high up in the sky.
You just never know.
Meanwhile,
You just
that
never know.
lucky teenager is recovering well today and was happy to get a surprise visit from her heroes.
She's in good spirits. It's going to be, a road of recovery, but she's going to be okay.
All thanks to
Lucky.
these
She's lucky
selfless
for those people
strangers
that
with
saved
sure hands and strong backs.
God dropped an angel. We all saved her.
Wow.
Investigators in Texas are working this morning to learn what caused a deadly roller coaster accident. A 51-year-old mother fell to her death Friday while riding the coaster with her family at Six Flags over Texas. Manuel Bojorquez is at the park in Arlington. Manuel, good morning.
I tell you that she got more nerves
Good
than me
morning, Nora
because
and Charlie.
there's no
The
way.
park was open over the weekend and will be open today. But officials here at Six Flags say the ride known as the Texas Giant will remain closed as they try to determine what led to the death of Rosie Esparza. At 14 stories high with a 79-degree drop, the Texas Giant is the tallest and steepest steel and wood hybrid coaster in the world. As Dallas mom Rosie Esparza was boarding it with her family, an eyewitness says she asked the ride attendant to double-check her safety restraint.
One of the employees from the park, one of the ladies, she was like, she asked them to click her more than once, and the guy was like, oh, as long as you heard a click, you're okay.
Stunned eyewitnesses say Esparza flew out of her seat just after the ride began. His family saw her fall to her death and heard the reaction from her children.
They were screaming when they came back and they were trying to get out of the restraint, and they were screaming, my mom, we got to get my mom, she's gone.
CBS This Morning followed the ride's engineer, Larry Chicola, as he inspected a similar hybrid in March.
So we're checking to make sure all the bolts are in place. We're looking to see if anything hasn't been tightened.
There is no evidence there is anything wrong with the coaster's design or tracks. But the German manufacturer of the car's safety bars is sending a team to Six Flags to join the investigation.
In a team, they put the evidence together, weigh the evidence, maybe go back and do some additional testing.
Six Flags has released a statement saying, "We are committed to determining the cause of this tragic accident."
You guys didn't check when the lady said to check her again.
This process. Police and fire department officials say there is no evidence of foul play. This is only the second death at this park since it opened in 1961. And there have been reports of 14 injuries that have occurred on the Texas Giant. All of those were minor. Charlie and Nora.
And well,
as I was telling y'all, if you guys feel like you guys are not safe, or you guys feel like, you know, your buckle is, you know, just being weird or anything, or you're telling these people to check and they're not doing it, if I were you guys, I would get off the ride. I would get off the ride because I feel like, you know, I think your intuition lets you know, and I think we just erase it because we're nervous and we think that it's nerves. But no, you have to make sure that you're safe. Make sure that you buckled up. And if you are the type of parent that want to put your kid in a roller coaster, I tell you guys, just be careful to make sure your kid is the right weight for the ride as well, because, you know, these fortunate deaths are happening all over the world because of safety issues like this. Let's go to the next video.
Terrible accident at the Ohio State Fair.
And such a scary moment for all the families there. And these are fairs that a lot of us have attended over the years. And there are so many of these fairs that are still going on across the country.
Yeah, this was the first day of the Ohio State Fair when that popular Fireball ride broke apart in midair. You see it right there. At least one person was killed, as Robin said, 7 others injured. This morning, all rides at the Ohio State Fair are shut down. ABC's Alex Perez is on the scene in Columbus with the latest. Good morning, Alex.
Imagine you being on a ride and it just flings you like that.
I've been here through the night. Just still a lot of unanswered questions. It was a beautiful day. Families were out when suddenly everything turned into a living nightmare. Overnight, a horrifying crash at the Ohio State Fair on a ride called the Fireball. Listen as the swinging ride begins to break apart. At least 2 riders thrown at high speeds through the air. One found 50 feet from the ride. A full car of the ride coming off. This video, posted to social media, captured the terrifying incident. 7 people injured, 5 in critical condition, and an 18-year-old man killed. Bystanders and first responders rushing to aid the injured.
They need help. Somebody's up there on the ride.
Police and investigators quickly shutting the fair down.
We will begin an investigation on this to determine what the failure was, if any, and how this accident occurred.
The Ohio State Fair was scheduled to run until August 6th. Last year, it attracted nearly 1 million visitors. But now, Ohio's Governor John Kasich ordering all rides closed until the investigation is complete and additional safety inspections can be conducted.
The fair is about the best things in life, and with this accident, it becomes a terrible, terrible tragedy.
ABC station WSYX was with inspectors before the fair opened.
We will periodically do spot checks just to ensure all that stuff is in place.
Overnight in California, the Orange County Fair shutting down a ride similar to the Fireball as a precaution. This morning, investigators examining this terrifying video for answers about what caused this terrible tragedy.
With the sound of the crash stunning onlookers, at least 2 people were thrown from the ride.
I heard a girl scream help, and I look over and I seen something fly out. And then I seen it slap to the ground.
Go ahead and back up a little bit.
First responders and witnesses rushed to help the victims, who were scattered across the ground.
I'm so scared.
Multiple passengers were ejected at high speed with high energy, many feet, at least 20 or 30, if not more, into the air, and then crashed at a significant distance from the ride.
But say the Fireball passed inspection.
Ride inspection is one of the most important things.
I don't believe it. See, they passed the inspection. That's what I'm telling you.
Investigation on this to determine what the failure was, if any, and how this.
So you guys heard it. You guys just heard it. The ride passed inspection, and still, even if you had the safety net, even if you had 3 safety belts or whatever, you can't prevent a ride. You don't know what's gonna happen with a ride because you can get on and not know if you're gonna come out. Not because you're not in safety and because you can fall out, but because the whole ride can fall out. If you guys, like, thrills like that to get on these rides, just make sure that you guys, just take extra precaution, and also need to pray to get on these rides nowadays. I don't know. So this next one is a very, very sad tragedy. This one kid died in a tragic accident in one of these water slides. And if you guys are one of those that love getting in water slides, then check this one out.
Outing into a day of tragedy. Years later, the community hopes to finally have some closure.
I'm even scared of getting on those. I remember I got in one of those.
In
and when it went all the way
2014,
down,
Schlitterbahn
I almost
Amusement
drowned.
Park opened
I don't know how to
Verrückt,
swim.
the world's tallest water slide. Meaning insane in German, Verrückt stood over 17 stories tall and had a 60-degree drop that
That's asking
accelerated
for it.
riders to nearly 70 miles per hour.
Once you're strapped down, it's kind of just hang on for dear life. You can't look down. It's literally, they open the gate and you're like, oh, and then the raft drops and you can't see anything but netting and sky.
For 2 years, adrenaline junkies from near and far came to ride Verrückt. Then, on August 7th, 2016, 10-year-old Caleb Schwab, the son of a former member of the Kansas legislature, got on the ride.
We were actually in the warm pool where the bar is, and they alerted us that everyone needs to get out of the water.
Basically, I'd heard a couple loud booms, like boom, boom. I looked at my cousin who was standing next to me, and I said, I think that's the body outside of the raft.
Caleb was killed after the raft he was in went airborne at the crest of the second hill, and he struck a support hoop. The tragedy left the community stunned.
A lot of times you're saying, you may be thinking that could have been my child. And how would I have felt if that was my child?
It brought tears to my eyes that someone else lost their child. That's my child's age that I'm sure they felt was safe.
After the tragedy, the safety and design of the ride came under heavy scrutiny. A clip from the Travel Channel show Extreme Water Parks began to circulate, showing test runs prior to the opening of the slide in which rafts filled with sandbags went airborne. The slide was redesigned to include safety netting before its grand opening, but according to one family that had a similar scare just weeks before the fatal accident, that didn't mean it was foolproof.
We found out what happened and we were just sick, thinking, oh my gosh, the same thing likely happened where the raft went airborne and this young little guy was killed.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm going to put my 2 inputs in this. I don't know about you guys. I'm not, trying to criticize anybody or judge anybody. But the situation could have been prevented, because I feel like if the boy looks really, really, really tiny. And you see that slide and how, steep it was? I'm just, why would you put your child in something so high? I'm sorry. I just, sometimes I just don't get it. I really don't get it. When it came down to my kids and getting in these high rides, if I wanted to get on rides, I would never, I'm sorry, I would have gone by myself. But a ride like that is for, adults. I don't know. Call me crazy, but there's no way I'm going to let my child that's that lightweight go into a slide that's that steep. I mean, common sense? I don't know.
The stitching was coming out of the boat. I did not feel safe on that ride at all. I did not feel safe with just a piece of Velcro holding me in and me having to hold myself in.
State regulations were also called into question. In fact, at the time, there were none.
There is no Kansas statute and no city codes that really allow us to go and inspect the operation of those rides. In terms of whether the ride was designed properly or operates the way it should, we have no authority to check any of that.
That's way too high for a child.
Do you know who does in Kansas? No one.
Just 3 days after Caleb's death, the park reopened. Verrückt, however, remained closed for the season.
My son loves it, loves going to Schlitterbahn, but I don't know if I'll go again.
Police began investigating Caleb's death as a criminal case. In March 2018, Jeff Henry, the co-owner of Schlitterbahn Park, and John Shuley, the designer of the slide, were charged with second-degree murder. The park's operations director, Tyler Miles, was charged with involuntary manslaughter.
I don't know why people think this is a criminal case. It makes no sense to me.
Because a child died.
It's just not.
It should be
The
a weight.
indictment said that Jeffrey Henry, the visionary and designer of Verrückt, dropped out of high school. He had no technical or engineering credentials.
You guys, I'm just going to stop this video right here. I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of my research and what I've been doing to bring awareness to you guys, because a lot of people are dying in these rides. Like, if you really pay attention to the news, every summer somebody dies from a ride, from a slide, or anything, you know. And I get it. We can die anywhere, anything, but I don't know. I just wouldn't put myself in danger by. I don't know. I do not trust rides. Just to put it that way. I'm not disencouraging anybody to not get on it, of course, but I do want to bring awareness to you guys and just be safe, y'all. Just be safe. Pray before getting in these rides, and if you don't feel safe, do not second guess yourself, because things like this can happen. Keep your little ones safe. If you feel like that ride is too high and you feel like your kid is too small, maybe you should use your common sense. And with that being said, I'm going to end this video right now. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And like always, you guys, never forget to love each day.